Hey everybody, it's Doug here, Doug Mystic on Board Game Geek, bringing you a new playthrough. This time we're going to be taking a look at Dark Souls, the board game by Steamforged Games. It is a game for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, and takes a long time. Well, anyway, it's a longer playing game. I think it's like 120 minutes, something in that ballpark. I have to look at the box. But anyway, we're going to, in this video, I'm going to just touch on the rules, the setup. I got the board set up to play. I'm going to finish some setup, and then we're going to get started. And we are going to be playing against a certain villain, and that certain villain is going to dictate what we do. I'm thinking I'm going to leave that villain a bit of a secret for now, and we'll see which one we get. That's a mini-boss that we're going to have to fight. And in this game, it is a dungeon crawler, so we're going to be going across multiple tiles and fighting big bad guys and little bad guys. All the while we get to return here to our campfire and level up. Now, I'm going to play a 2-player game with 2 characters. I'm going to have the knight. This is he, the big shield. These are really nicely done miniatures, actually. And I'm going to be playing the assassin. So those are going to be the 2 characters that we get to have in the game. This is the treasure deck. I've already built it the way it's according to the game, which is all the common items plus the items, specific items. There's 5 for the knight and for the assassin. Now, this campfire and this board also has some special things on it. Here, where all these little souls are, this is where we gather our souls up, and a soul is a token that we're going to be gathering up as we kill creatures and clear areas, mainly from clearing areas. And then we also have the loot pile where we're going to place the loot that we've discovered in here. We may not be able to buy it right away. And then over here you got the Firekeeper, and the Firekeeper keeps track of our sparks, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And over here we have the Blacksmith, and that's technically, from a role-playing perspective, who you're buying stuff from. Also, you got this thing here. This is a clicker. Or not a clicker rather, but a dial, and we're going to set that depending on the number of players to how many sparks we have. Now, when we return to the fire after we complete a tile, we get to rest, and in resting we're going to get stuff and all that stuff. But if we die and we come back, we lose a spark, and we have to go fight it all over again and refight the match that we had there, and that can be pretty rough. So we have to keep that in mind as we go. And then we're going to venture forth from here. We got a couple directions we can go. We can go north, we can go that way, and we're going to go onto a new tile, and I'll show you what one of those tiles looks like. So here's a tile that we can go onto, and you can see that it's got these circles. Those are called nodes. Nodes can have up to, I believe it's 3 characters on there, and you can gather in there and fight. We're going to be attacking monsters now. You'll see how that works. These are the spawn. These 2 areas are spawn points. These are item locations. And we're going to draw cards and place them on here. I haven't done that yet. That's going to be the part of setup that we finish. And then there also may be traps on some of these other nodes. And we're going to be moving around and fighting. Some monsters may have the ability to push us and everything. And this particular one is a collapsed bridge, for example. Now, as we get farther and farther away from the campfire, the combats, the encounters we face are going to get tougher. So on the first 2 tiles that we go to, well, we can not go to them first. We can go to a tougher one second, but we probably won't. We get to encounter level 1s, and then we're going to have a total of 5 tiles. So 2 are close, 2 are directly connected to our camp area, and then the other 2 are farther away, and they're going to have the more deadly encounters. If we survive all of that, we get to go to the last tile, which is behind this fog gate here, and when we get to there, we get to battle the mini-boss that we have chosen to encounter in this fight. And well, since we're here and focused on the character cards, let's take a look at those. Here's our knight. Now, you see this here tracks both our stamina and our health. As we take damage, we're going to fill things up from this direction, and we'll put cubes in there and fill it up. And as we use stamina, we're going to fill it up to this direction. If ever the 2 should meet, or the entire thing becomes full, then our character has died, and we have to go. We immediately end. Both characters go back to the campfire. We use a spark, and we have to start the combat over again. So we got to try and avoid that. These are our stat blocks. Basically, it requires souls, or these are our base stats. It requires souls to go up. And how that works is there's stats on the items. Now, these are starting items, so they have 0. So, for example, this knight's armor, well, it has a strength of 12. So you can see that the knight has a strength of 13, just enough to wield the knight's armor. and that is here on his armor slot, where he gives him some special abilities. But we're going to talk about stats first. So you see he has enough stats. Now, we're going to uncover items in the game. They're going to be tougher, and how that works, how we acquire them, we have to have the stats to be able to meet them. So, for example, if I spend 2 souls in between combats or when we have them to spend at the campfire, I can pump that up to there. It would require me another 4 souls to get to there, another 8 souls to get to there, and that would increase my strength to its maximum of 40. And you can see that we have these stats: strength, dexterity, intelligence, and faith. And items are going to dictate, the items we uncover are going to dictate how we want to grow this out. We have a couple other things. We have the luck token here. That is it allows us to do a reroll. We flip it over when we use it, and then we can't use it anymore. We have the our power, our ability, I can't remember what the term is exactly for this, but it allows us to trigger our special ability. His is stand fast. Once per spark, after making a block roll, the knight may roll an additional blue die and add it to its roll. That's if he uses this. And then we have our Eustace Flask. Anyway, we can flip that to heal all of our stamina and damage. The knight also has 3 special starting items. See, I showed you the knight's armor, but I didn't give you in detail. This is his longsword. His longsword requires a strength of 13, which he has exactly, and a dexterity of 12, which he has exactly. You can see a couple symbols in here. That means it's got 0 range. It is a knight. That symbol means it's the knight's item, starting item. It is a one-handed weapon. It's from the base game, and that's what those stats mean. Then we have some other stats along here. It does no defense, and these are some of its abilities. Its base ability is it rolls 1 blue die to attack. If we spend 4 stamina, we can do 1 black die and 1 blue die. It's pretty good. That's its base ability. Then we have the knight's armor, and you can see that he now has a defensive 1. Gets to roll 1 blue die. And he's also, I don't think this grants him any dodge ability, but anyway, yeah. So that's his armor, and then you see his shield does the same thing. It gives him, he can block that with his get with a die and try and block attacks. So he's basically rolling with his armor and shield. He's rolling 2 defense against creatures, and we'll see how that works as we play. And then you can see that he's got this armor. The assassin now has armor that does that dodge and defense. And let's see, what else? Is there anything really unique about his stuff? No. He gets 2 dice, but it's -1. And then he can pump it up for 3 dice -1 on his weapon. That's called the S-Stock. And then he's got his target shield, which doesn't do anything for him immediately. But you'll see how all of this works. So anyway, those are the basic stats. And we'll see how that goes in gameplay. And we're going to be fighting some crazy creatures like these crossbow hollows. And this has some stats on it. And I'll go over those in more detail when we play. But essentially this shows its what it does during its round. It shows what kind of creature it is, how many health it has, etc. These they defend 1 point of damage, so we basically have to do 2 points of damage to kill one of the crossbow hollows. But they are ranged. And what this little thing means here is it's going to back away from the character with the threat, and it's going to shoot at him. That's what it's going to do for damage. And it's going to back 1 away and then do 3 damage. And that's how that works. 3 magical damage to the person with threat. That symbol means the person with threat. The threat symbol is this token right here. Right now it's on the knight. It may not stay on the knight. It depends on who. In the first room, it depends on who goes in the room first. And so the last thing we have to do is we do have to deal out, and I just want to show you this so you can see it. We have these encounter decks that are right over here. We got 1, 2, and 3 levels. So this is going to be the first 2 rooms closest to the fire are going to have 1 of these. Second one is going to have the second 2 are going to have 2 of these. And with this enemy, we are not going to have any of those. The enemy, by the way, I'll show you now, I guess, is the Winged Knight. And that's the mini boss we're going to face. And this is his big giant mini. He's really cool looking. Got a lot of detail in his armor. And that's going to be fun if we manage to get to him in time. Yeah, it's going to be tough for us, but we're going to give it a go. And I'll just show you some of the other, like the crossbow hollows. Here's a crossbow hollow figure. It's a skeleton with a big old crossbow. And then you have what they call, I think, the hollow soldiers, which are these guys here. I'll pull one out for you. Show you what they look like. They're soldiers with swords and shields that we're going to fight, and they have their stats are similar, but they're going to move, I believe that symbol, I'll have to look in the book, is to the nearest target. You notice that they have both 1 defense in physical and magical. They still only take 1 damage, so they're not that tough, but they do 4 damage when they hit, and they're gonna hit the person closest, I believe. And again, I'll look up those symbols as we play just to make sure I'm doing it right. But these are going to move 1 towards somebody, and then they're going to attack for 4, so they're pretty nasty. And one of the challenging parts of this game is your character goes, and then all the enemies go. So if you have multiple enemies on the site, you move your character, then you have to plan ahead, because all the enemies are going to then rush you and do whatever they do, or back off and shoot, or spike you from afar, or knock you down, or back, and all kinds of different things that they can do. So essentially, that's the overview of the rules. We're going to chuck some dice. So these are dodge dice, for example. They're green, and you can use those to attempt to dodge. And I didn't talk about the assassin's ability. He's got a backstab ability he can use with his special power token. It says once per spark, after making a successful dodge, the assassin may attack the enemy he dodged. The attack does not cost stamina, but must have range to the enemy, which means he can dodge into an area with the enemy and backstab it. Pretty interesting ability. Okay, now I was thinking of house ruling this game and showing you what this would look like if you did some early advancements, like perhaps get some early souls or anything. But I've said it before, I like to just play the game as it stands. So I did look up some rules for clarification online, and I did a lot of research, because there's a lot of things. People are starting to vary this a lot, because it is a grindy game, meaning that there's a possibility that we end up doing the fights repeatedly as a result of dying, and we have so many sparks. And again, I have to adjust this. I don't think it's 5 for a 2-player game, but I'll check. And then we do have to lay down our threats, and there's going to be 1 per room. And these cards, I'll give you an example of what one of these cards looks like. It shows you on the red sword space or torch space, for example, we would have a sword hollow and a crossbow hollow. On this cross sword space, we would have, and then remember, there's one of these on each of the tiles. We would have a sword hollow and a crossbow hollow, and then and then on this symbol here, we'd have a treasure chest, and that's it. No traps on that card, for example. And then another trap, and I don't see a lot of traps on these, which is good. There's one with a trap. These means that there's traps in the room. We place traps all over the place and see if we end up stepping on them. But we're just going to do 1. So I'm going to shuffle these up, and I'm going to put 1 on the tile just north of the fire. We'll see that, and yeah, that should be good enough, I guess. So we're going to take 1 out, and we're going to plop it up on this tile just north of the fire. So here's where the fire is, down here, which is just north. And then we are also going to just do another quick little shuffle up, just to make sure we got a good variety here. We're going to place 1 there, and that's going to be our level 1s. Now this particular creature has 2 level 1s and 2 level 2 encounters, so we're not going to have a level 3 encounter. But here are the level 2 cards. We're going to shuffle these bad boys up. Now, I'm going to preface this, guys. This is kind of a blind playthrough. So I did a little bit of test combat, and I did do a little bit of, I did a lot of watching videos of gameplay and reading the rules. So I have a pretty good grasp, but I am probably going to make a mistake or two, because there's some trickiness in the game. The threat token and how that works can be a little bit tricky. But anyway, we're going to put a card there, and I got to put a card here, and those are going to be our threats for the whole game until we reach the mini boss, and then we're going to have to fight the mini boss, and that's going to be a blast. So we got 2 level 1s and 2 level 2 threats to go through before we get to him. Hopefully we don't run into any of the trap rooms, because I don't like them. But that being said, we're going to get going, and we're going to have the Knight and the Assassin. It's going to be fun. I'm calling this series of light and shadow, the Knight being the good guy, the Assassin being the shadowy bad guy, whatever. Maybe they're reversed, who knows, depends on your tastes. The Assassin might be the good guy in this world, because we are technically these guys called Hollows. We're undead, and we're trying to regain souls and defeat these evils in this place. It's kind of an interesting story. If you haven't played Dark Souls, it is a video game. This is based on that video game and does act similarly to it, though not exactly. It is brutal like the video game, so we'll have to see how well I survive. And I'm going to tell you right now, guys, I'm not likely to win this one, again, because it's a blind playthrough. I haven't played it all the way through yet, and I've watched a lot of gameplay, but I'm not sure what the best tactics are yet, and so you're probably going to have to help me with some tactics and all that good stuff. Last thing I want to show you, This is the enemy dial for the Winged Knight. You can see it's specific to him, and it allows you to track his health when we get into fighting the bad guy. So I just want to show you that. Now, guys, I'm not going to start this. I have a feeling the turn's going to be long. So here's our setup video. The next video is going to be the beginning of our gameplay. We're going to get things going. And one of the reasons I want to break right now is I want to review. I may start the game with some souls to get to uncover items to speed up the game. Not because I want to cheat, but I've read a lot of house rules on it, and it suggests that this is a good idea to speed up the beginning of the game because it can be grindy as you're trying to get better gear to fight the tougher things. It might be very difficult to do. You might have to go into the same room and defeat it a few times just to make that happen and gather enough souls, because as you can see, it can take quite a bit of souls to upgrade your stats, plus you need souls to buy equipment or to uncover equipment and then be able to use it. So that's that. So guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing in the setup video. I appreciate it. Hope you continue to support my channel. You guys have done a fantastic job at doing that, and I hope you continue with me as we continue to explore games. I got a lot of stuff coming in, a lot of stuff on the table. I got my big giant deluxe Outlive box, which I got to break out and check it out tonight, but I'm not gonna get to play it. But that's probably coming to the table too. It is not a solo player game. I don't even know if it has a solo variant. It just has a great apocalyptic theme, and I really like the look of it. So I did kickstart that one. And also, that's going to be it for now. So guys, thanks so much. I'll talk to you soon. Next time we're going to get into some vicious Dark Souls gameplay. It's going to be a blast, and I am so looking forward to it. So take care, and I'll see you soon.